The book is Urban Meyer, Above the Line, Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season hits the bookshelves tomorrow. Good to see you in person, Coach. What do you think of the Man Cave here?
Well, I've been on your show many times, and I was looking forward to being here. It's fantastic. I look forward to coming back someday. It's great.
So I'm watching the Rutgers game. I was rooting, but I didn't know how hard to root if what was considered a good game for you. I'd hate for you to come in a bad mood.
Well, I told you before the break, there probably wouldn't be I would not be here if we didn't play well. That's how.
But you did play well.
We did play well. It was one of our best. The last 3 weeks we played very well, so I like where we're at right now.
If you had won by 3 points.
Oh, they would have beat us to death, the media and everybody. And
Would you have come in today?
No.
You'd be back home?
I'd be back home trying to figure out what happened. And
how tough is it that the bar is so high that you're expected to win another championship? How much fun can you have when everybody expects you to win, but win by a lot?
Dan, that's a great question, and a question that I had to live with in 2009, and I didn't handle it very well. And the coaches don't matter; it's the players. Winning the Division I football game every week, you see upsets, and make sure they enjoy it. We have something called a victory meal. We do enjoy it. We do work to get better, but I'm not going to let the expectations on the outside drain, because the expectations are, that's higher within the facility, but enjoy the darn win, and we do.
What were you like in 2009?
2009 was Florida was never been undefeated, and I remember Tebow was our quarterback, obviously, and all we would talk about is we have to be undefeated, and we kind of drained the enjoyment out of it, and I don't want to do that to these guys.
But do they know, how do you express you're in a good mood to them?
I show them I'm in a good mood because I am, and all I know is winning that game, however you win it. You don't have to be, and Lou Holtz said that, this is a great quote, you don't have to be the best team in the country each week. You have to be the best team in that stadium, and that's it. That kind of narrows the focus of your players and your coaches. Just win that game. At the end of the year, it's all going to be figured out.
But can you be goofy in front of your team?
Goofy's probably not the word that most people would. But I make sure they have fun. Yeah, absolutely. Have fun with them, and I'll make sure they know. Most importantly, make sure that they know that I appreciate them and we appreciate them.
Do you know you're intimidating?
I don't.
Is it on purpose?
No, not at all.
Because you can walk in and, you're in the building.
Is that right?
Yeah. Just letting you know here, Coach. I mean, I'm not playing for you, but I feel like I should take a lap here. I don't know. Give my guys a look. See these guys here? I mean, look what I have to work with here, Coach.
I'll go get after them a little bit here in a minute.
Would you get? If one of my guys just fumbled, so Paulie right here in the 70s mustache, if he just fumbled, fourth quarter, big game, what's he getting from you?
Take care of the damn ball, man. You're letting your guys down.
See, there you go. My guys aren't very good, but they're coachable. That's what I love about them. Why the book?
Something I've always wanted to do, and it's kind of a tribute to an incredible group of people that I was very fortunate to be around. That group last year, that to be able to do, it was illogical. The way the season started, the injuries, a tragedy, and I feel as you get older that you have an obligation to kind of give back, and this is things I've learned from incredible mentors and other leaders, and really the greatest group of young guys I've been around at that 2014 team.
Anything you hold back with a book like this?
No, and I thought about that, and people even brought that to my attention. Said, "Why would you?" And it's not secrets. Everything in that book is something I learned. I've learned from the great mentors I've had and the journey I've been on. So I love it. I obviously was very involved in the whole process, and I'm really proud of it.
But your job as a coach is to not reveal. I mean, you guys are. A lot of guys don't want to tell you anything. I don't want to give you a secret. I don't want to give you bulletin board material. I don't want to open up to you. So you kind of went against that.
Yeah, great comment. I would say this, that the new generation of coach, I'm not a big fan of. I like the old generation of coach, the ones that care and love for their players off the field and push them and not trying to take shortcuts. And that's where, I'm a big fan of the older coaches. I can't get enough of just studying the way guys do it the right way and push, and so that's another reason why I just think a new generation of coach is because it's very old school the way we go about our business.
Would you recommend coaches at big time programs take a year off?
Oh man, I would. And John Gruden, when I worked for ESPN for the year off, and then They had me shadow John Gruden. Great story. I was up with the Baltimore Ravens Monday Night Football. And I was walking with Coach Gruden, and he looked at me and goes, "You know what? How many coaches would like to take a year off and then go right back at it?" And I looked at him and go, "How many do you think?" He said, "Every one of them."
Yeah.
Just because you get in such a rut. First of all, get back to living right, healthy, and your family, and then go back and take another swing.
Not everybody has that luxury, and you were able to do it and then go into a marquee job. But Bill Parcells did this. I mean, a lot of these guys have recharged their batteries that way. If you didn't take that year off, finish that sentence.
Oh, I don't know. It was not the health situation. It was really a health scare. I felt like something wasn't right, and I was letting people down that were very close to me, and I was scared what was going to happen. So obviously it was nothing major. It was very fixable, but when you're in the grind, can you fix it? That's what I think the $1 million question is.
But you bottle it up, and you don't. Sometimes it takes somebody on the outside to tell you who you are. Did you have that?
Yeah. It's called 26 years of marriage. My wife, and I could see in her eye, and my kids mean the world to me. They knew something was wrong, and I've always been completely engaged with them, and I went through that. Everybody goes through it. You're that guy that, you won some championships, got a couple of this, but you missed this. I'm horrified of being that guy, and I don't want to be that guy.
What did you miss with your kids at each show?
Man, they're all very good athletes, and the one thing, I grew up in a house, my parents never missed anything. My dad had job opportunities, never took them because he just followed us around, and my mom and dad were that way, and so I missed some really, really important things, and it's in the book, a story about my daughter signing a scholarship for Florida Gulf Coast, and I almost did not go to her signing party because I was working on punt formations or something, and my assistant just screamed at me and said, "Get the heck out of here and go watch," and that was a knife through the heart.
You just don't know. And then, because I tell this story on the air, that I was 18 years at ESPN. I worked second shift. I missed so many things. So now when I go to those things, it can be a school play. It's not very good, but I'll cry because I missed it. It's the smallest things. Now, meanwhile, my wife is like, why don't you go? I've gone to every one of them. But I missed all of those moments, and you never get them back.
You know what I do in the off season? I don't speak anymore. I just,
Good.
And I used to sit on a plane and I have to go do some booster club function, and I'd tear up because my wife would be sending me text messages about my son's pitching in the second inning. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing on this plane going to talk to this group when I could be watching that? I should be watching that.
Do you have anger management? Did you get angry, uncontrollable?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think that was because I'd internalize it so much that but
that'll eat you up too.
That really ate me up.
It'll eat up your heart, is what it'll do.
Yeah.
Can you stick around another segment?
Sure.
We'll talk about positives here.
Sure.
Some good things.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want to go get that guy that fumbled.
Paulie, I want you to. Yeah, Paulie.
I just transferred to Kent State after that. Sorry.
They won't take you,
No.
Paulie. No. Would you dress him down, though?
Oh, I'd go get him.
Yeah.
He just fumbled?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get him.
All right, so during the break, I want you to Paulie's coming over. You got your headset on. You're going to take it off, and then you're going to let Paulie know he just screwed up. Urban Meyer's new book, Above the Line, Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season, hits bookshelves tomorrow. Great story in the book about how far he'd go when you're recruiting. Well, you know where I'm going with this, that the strangest places that he's done some recruiting. We'll talk to Urban Meyer. We'll continue. Ohio State ranked number 1 in the country. Big win against Rutgers. They got Minnesota coming up. Urban Meyer joining us in the New York City Man Cave. The book is Above the Line, Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season, hitting the bookshelves tomorrow. If you were watching, you got a chance to see Coach talk to Paulie after Paulie just fumbled the football. And, of course, you're aware of the cameras, so if you're angry, you can't be demonstrative with your hands, yelling or screaming. Your way of sending the message to Paulie after he fumbled was to grab him.
Nice little arm squeeze to let him know that I'm here and that.
Varying degrees of squeezing is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's amazing how the game's changed. I mean, you get everywhere you look, there's cameras, there's microphones and all that. And so I don't believe in the screaming and yelling, or try to stay away from that. But just you let the team down.
Have you ever watched yourself coach? Like after the fact, watch a game and see how you react? during
Yeah,
the
I've
game?
seen it, and sometimes when I was younger, I made a decision that kind of looked silly, and I don't want our players acting like that, so I don't. You very rarely will see that.
Odd recruiting stories. The strangest place that you've recruited somebody from.
Well, it's in the book. I
Yeah.
used to sit in church, and I'd have that phone in my pocket, and I'd get swatted from my wife, and even my kids look at me and say, "What the heck are you doing, man?" And then probably the most bizarre was after we won the national championship in '08. We were knee deep in a handful of recruits, and I went in there and was so paranoid about who was going to leave early for the draft that I closed the door and actually put a little nut, locked it, and they're celebrating the win, and I'm in there emailing recruits.
How many minutes?
15 minutes. And I mean, to the point, people knocking on the door and say, "Come on, man, enjoy it."
Is it good or bad?
I think at the end of the day, it's all good. I think obsessive behavior, where you don't actually enjoy the moment is not good. And I've witnessed that.
You also say something interesting about if you see somebody's car, the inside of their car, what can you tell if you look at a recruit's car?
Oh, you can tell a lot about. I do it more with our current players because I don't get to see the recruits' cars
Okay.
very often. But I'll always.
So
if a guy
Braxton
drives-
Miller's car.
Oh, he's a meticulous guy. Things are in order with Braxton. I don't have to check his very often. But the new guys that I don't know and I see him drive by, I always pull them over and say, I'm not sure they know what I'm doing, but I'm peeking around and just making sure. And
But
you
if
can
it's
tell.
messy, what's it mean?
Oh, usually their life's messy. It's a little bit like they're taking care of themselves facially and their hair, and I kind of like guys that handle themselves like pros.
What's the one personality trait I can't have to play for you that you will not?
Lazy. I think Kobe Bryant's quote is one of the great. I have it hanging in the team room now. Is I don't want to talk to lazy people. I don't want to get to know you. I don't understand you, and I don't want to understand you. And that's the same way. When you're lazy, you're just nothing but the anchor to the team.
Have you had a Kobe Bryant?
As far as
That kind of personality?
oh my gosh, yes, I have one right now. Our quarterbacks like that. JT Barrett's a great leader. I have a bunch of guys like that. Right, we're really fortunate right now. We have good leaders on our team.
If I took you back to July, would you have done anything different with the quarterbacking situation?
Oh, I don't think so. I've talked to the respect I have for these two guys is obvious, but I think JT Barrett came out the other day and said he wasn't playing very well early in training camp, and JT's a grown man. Cardell's done tremendous things for him. He's 10-0. He just threw for 300 yards 2 weeks ago. We sat him down. That tells you about the expectation level we have right now.
Yeah, but I've been saying all along JT Barrett's the quarterback for you. I'm glad you've been listening.
I should have called you.
Yeah, but I've been telling you. I've been shouting from the. I understand. I think you're loyal to Cardell because he didn't go pro. He's coming back. Barrett, coming off the injury, but JT Barrett's a better quarterback for your system.
I think at this time he is. I would say this, that you cannot, on a team, you can't, if I anoint someone ahead of someone else, you have to beat that guy out. Regardless who that is, you have to beat that guy out or you lose your whole system of competitive spirit, competitiveness in a program. And is JT a better runner? Yeah, sure is. But Cardell did pretty good in those 3 games. So matter of fact, looking back, we did the right thing. You have to beat someone out. And JT be the first one to tell you he didn't beat anyone out.
How good is Harbaugh for the Big Ten?
Well, I think he's good for our rivals. I think he's good for the Big Ten. I don't really personally know him. I just see his teams, and his teams are much improved.
Could you take him if you had to?
Take him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just you and Harbaugh in the cage.
So can we go back to him fumbling? I'd rather. What's his name, Paulie? I want to get Paulie up here.
Paulie wants to know if you could take Jim Harbaugh.
How much of a rivalry do you get into? When's the last time you got into a personal rivalry with a coach?
Oh boy. I think there are rivalries. It's not so much personal as far as his program against your program. I think Coach Saban's one of the guys that they were the top of them. They're one of the top programs every year, and so I think every coach, maybe if they're not even going to tell you that, deep in their heart, they're looking at that program and say they're better than us. We have to get there, and I think that happens quite often.
What role does ego play in how you coach, how you recruit, everything you do with football?
Personal ego?
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't get involved at all but we're human, and it certainly does. And I catch myself, but I think people who know me or know our staff would say that that's not a factor at all.
How do you react when somebody says Urban Meyer genius?
I talk about Paulie fumbling the ball.
Are you good with compliments?
That's great questions, man. You're hitting me pretty hard. I try to stay away from them and try to change the subject because I understand it's not me, it's us. And
you can't stay away from them if you continue to perform well, though, Coach.
But you have to go back while you're performing well. You take Cardell and JT out of the equation now, and I'm certainly not sitting here in New York.
No, then you have Braxton playing quarterback.
Yeah.
You're okay.
That's a good point.
You're okay. But there is, do you feel you're better than Saban? Like, if I said, who's the best coach in college football, is there part of you that says, I have to believe
I don't believe that. I don't believe I am. I believe if I have better players than him, I'm better.
Are you a better coach this year?
To be determined.
You were a better coach last year.
Yeah, I'm a better coach personally. I'm not going to pit another coach against myself, but a group of players got better each week, and at the end, we were the best team.
Could you see yourself doing what Steve Spurrier did? Down the road, middle of the season, just say, do you understand that?
I do understand that. Steve's a great friend. I just talked to him a few days ago, and Steve operates differently than most because he's, some people would say he hasn't earned that right. I say he has. He's 70 years old. He's done so much for college football. That's certainly his right. And then we actually talked on the phone, he thought that he was in the way. And so, and the other guy deserved a chance to try to get him right. So I respected that.
But could you quit in the middle of the season?
That'd be hard to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not 70 either. And
yeah, I was critical of Steve once I realized he wasn't health related. But he's so competitive. That's what surprised me. Unless you get to the point where you're just, I can't do it anymore at my level, and then you quit. But even then, I can't believe that he was a negative to that program, that you still could benefit from his knowledge on the sidelines.
I don't know the situation. I know him very well. And after our conversation, and I've known him for a long time, it'd be hard for me to be critical of what he's done for that South Carolina, what he's done for those players, and he's going to still support them, and he felt like he was in the way.
When did your dad accept you at his level in coaching?
My dad?
Yeah. Did he look at you and say, at a certain point, where...
A great story about my dad is we won it in 06, and walking off the field, and it's Earl Bruce and my father. There's my two guys, and we go in the locker room, kind of an emotional moment. He looks right at me and goes, about time you did this. I said, is that a thank you, or is that a...
Could you please him, though?
It was hard, but yes, you could. And he was always very supportive, and I lost him. I lost him 2 weeks before I took the Ohio State job, and he's been a Buckeye.
Oh, I was going to say, when I heard that news, how would your dad have reacted at that press conference when you're introduced?
That would have been something. He 2 weeks before, and he was failing health, and I'm sitting there, and we're watching actually Sports Center, and he looks at me, and my picture shows up with Ohio State logo right next to it, and he goes, he's on a breathing tube, and he says, hey, are you going to do that? And I go, what do you think? And he shakes his head for about a minute, real uncomfortable minute. And he said, no, I kind of like the way it is now. I don't care who wins or loses. And I thought, wow. So you can tell the pressure, not just, and that made me think about the pressure on your family. Every game you think it's on you. It's not. It's a family.
So he was going to be more invested, and he'd rather not have been as invested.
At that time.
Oh, my God. You would have been, I would have been an emotional wreck that if I go, and this is what my dad would want me to be able to do, or how proud that would make him.
There's no doubt that he wanted me to do this, though. No doubt.
Congrats on the book.
Thanks.
Good luck with the rest of the season. If you need help on any other personnel moves, I'd be more than happy to help you. I will. But then there are other coaches. I'm helping USC. God, they need my help. So these are little things that I'm doing, Coach, just so you know. I got a couple of Coach of the Year votes last year. I don't know if you know that.
Well, you're an Ohio guy.
Yeah, I am.
So, absolutely.
Yeah. But if Harbaugh calls...
You're an Ohio guy.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Stick to your loyalties.
Urban Meyer's new book, Above the Line, Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season, hits bookstores tomorrow. Thank you, Coach, for coming in.